Our representatives are busy assisting other customers. The estimated wait time is about 8 minutes.
Sunday, 10:33 a.m.
Time is about 8 minutes.
It never changes.
Sunday, 10:35 a.m. I'll be with the account.
Well, pardon me, wonders why I'm bothering to call, because I know you're going to somehow explain this to me and it's going to make sense, but in a small, in a one-bedroom apartment, my bill was $41 last time, and now the latest bill, which, I know I'm behind a little bit, so that's why I haven't paid a second payment, because I've been meaning to call you, and it takes a long time to get through. But it was $62 this billing cycle. So the previous cycle was 41 and change, and then a month later it's 62 and change. So, I would have, I can't even imagine. It's impossible. How could it be so much higher?
Okay, well, the reason that the bill is much higher is because of the cycle. Well, number one is the cycle. Maybe the rate also, which I haven't checked with yet, but I will. So now, the last cycle was 29 days. In 29 days, you consume the average of 148 kilowatt hours. I see now I have a consumption of 148 kilowatt hours. This bill was for 34 days, which was 5 days extra. So because it was a longer period, you're more likely to consume more energy. And in this period, you consume 226 kilowatt hours. So the average daily consumption in your last billing period was 5 kilowatt hours per day. In this billing period, the average daily consumption was 6.5 kilowatt hours per day. So your daily usage did go up by a kilowatt hour and a half, which is not much. But the fact that this cycle is 5 days longer makes the bill more expensive because you had a longer period of time.
Can you give me an example of what, if I decided to make more toast in the month of December, what would make it go up to half a kilowatt?
Well, there's different things. Like, for example, if you're home more often, you're more likely to use more energy because you're gonna have the lights on more often. You might watch more television. You might use appliances more often, or maybe whatever you did, you might have been home for the same amount of time, but whatever you did more often. It depends. So yes, basically it depends on usage that comes from your appliances and your lights. So whatever you did a little bit more often. Your increase of 1.5 kilowatts per day is not much. Like I explained.
But aside from the obvious, is that like say I left my television on all day long, normally. Well, no. My point is say I left is a television about a kilowatt a day? Like, what is?
Well, that will depend what kind of television you have.
Okay, I don't mean to. I'm not holding you to this. Just a guesstimation about what could I possibly have done to make it go up?
Well, like I said, that all depends. If you were home more often...
No, honestly, nothing has changed in my life. I don't mean to take it out on you, but, we're talking about, it's not doubling, but it just feels like it's almost doubled, and nothing has changed. You can only do so much in a one-bedroom apartment.
I understand, but you're not going to have the same exact consumption every month.
Okay, let me try again. $41 one month, and then $62 the next month. What changed? I have a TV, I have a computer, I have, I don't even, a blender in my kitchen. What could possibly have changed? There's nothing that could change.
The bill the most was the cycle because it was 5 days longer than the previous one. So you're comparing two cycles that are for the same amount.
No, I'm comparing the number 41 to 62 and 5 days. 41 divided by...
The majority of the reason for that is because the cycle was longer.
No, 40 divided by 30 is about $1.50 a day. So 5 times $1.50 is maybe maybe $10 more would be a lot. If it went up to 51, I would be surprised, but that might not be as shocking. But to double is a lot. I mean,
your daily usage went up a kilowatt hour and a half per day.
All right.
Your average went up. Now,
what?
That doesn't necessarily mean that every single day.
Okay, so if I got an electric toothbrush, is that going to make the difference? I mean, what? It sounds like a very tiny amount.
It is.
Well, what? All right. So you're saying I went up by a kilowatt
and a half.
A kilowatt and a half. What?
And a kilowatt costs eight for this period.
No. Just stay with my retarded brain here.
You're not asking.
No, I've asked you the same question 10 times. A television. What 1.5 kilowatts is going to be what? It's going to be.
It could be anything. It could have.
What do you mean it could be anything? Does a car use a kilowatt?
Stop shouting. I could explain. But you have to stop shouting. We're not getting into an argument here. If you ask me a question, let me answer it. A kilowatt could be used by a light bulb, by a refrigerator. It could be used by anything that's electric. So you might have had your TV on, maybe a little bit longer. It could have been an electric toothbrush. It could have been a light bulb. It could have been anything. Do you understand that?
Yeah, I understand that my bill is mostly under $50 every month, and now suddenly something has added $20 to my bill.
Well, if your bill would have been 29 days again, most likely it would have been around the same amount of money. Or your bill was not 29 days again.
And what's their reasoning for doing that?
Because the cycle has to end on a work day. So now, if you read the meter last month, we read the meter on what day of the month was it? On the 22nd. Now, we couldn't read the 22nd this month because the 22nd fell on a Sunday. So, in December, fell on a Sunday. So, it was read later on that week, making the cycle longer, just like months. Now,
why didn't they read on the 23rd?
It still balances out. It doesn't make much of a difference because one cycle was 34 days and that cycle was 29.
Well, it makes a $20 difference, apparently.
Because it was a longer cycle, right? But you're going to have one cycle longer than the other.
So why didn't they read it on the 23rd, which is a Monday?
Well, you want to find that out? You have to pull up the meter operation department.
What I'm trying to find out is how Con Ed makes the bills a little more expensive because most people don't have a conversation like this because $20 isn't that big a deal.
What will make the bill more expensive? The customer is the one that uses the energy, not us. When your bill was 29 days, right? Did you call us to ask us why we made your bill less expensive? What? Why we didn't make your bill 30 days? No, you did not. Correct? When your bill was 29 days, you did not call us to ask us, why did we make your bill less expensive?
What is the thinking here?
Some cycles are longer than others, just like the month.
What was my bill the month before the $41? What was the month before that? Was 50 something?
No, it was 40 again.
So it was 40 and then it was 41.
It was 40 and 67 cents for October. It was 40 and 55 cents for November, and now it's 61.29.47.
And you're saying that's just because they didn't read the meter for an extra 5 days.
But I give you two reasons. First of all, your consumption went up by 1.5 kilowatts.
But I'm telling you, since I know my consumption, it really didn't go up.
There's no way you can know your consumption unless you read your meter every day.
By the way, I'm sorry to interrupt. What was the reading on the 27th? What were the numbers on the 27th?
On the 26th, the reading was 280.17.
280.17. And a year ago, it was something like 23567.
I'll check one moment. A year ago today, it was 25401 on December 26th of last year.
Okay, I was looking at something that was from 12/4 a little while ago, so it wasn't the exact thing. But wait, so what was it a year ago? What did you say? 26.
The reading was 25401.
25401. So it was almost the same. And it's 26 something now. Is that what you said?
No, your reading now is 28017.
28017. So that's a lot. So that is a lot more.
What are you talking about a year ago?
No, but I'm trying to get an average estimation of what could possibly have changed. I mean, last month I plugged in a space heater, and I didn't use it that much, but I was surprised that it was all still okay. It was it was a normal bill. So I just
that's not for the month before because this bill is for last month's usage.
Do you?
I meant November. I meant
You
November.
used space heater last month, you used it in December, and you're being built
Use
now.
the space heater in November, is what I meant.
I know. I'm just saying I really didn't do anything differently, and obviously my heating is not related to electricity, so it has nothing to do with the fact that it's colder. Or does it? Does the cold weather somehow affect my electricity?
It might. It might depend. You have electric heater.
It wasn't that cold through the month of
let's pretend
December.
that I'm not as mildly retarded as I stated. I am not.
I don't. Miss, you asked me a question. I'm answering it. Then you're getting upset because of my answer. You asked me if a space heater affects your electricity. Of course it does.
I didn't ask you that. I said, does the cold weather affect how the meter?
Right, because, yes, it didn't affect the meter, but if you have cold weather and you mentioned that you have using a space heater.
No, I'm not mentioning that. I'm trying to keep it, like, mathematical. I just told you I used the space heater last month and it didn't change anything. And so I'm not trying to, like, get you involved in, like, the daily, like, you know, little things that I do every day. I'm trying to understand why my bill has gone up by a third, and I don't believe that it's just by the 5-day thing. I think that so you're telling me that you're telling me that everybody's bill is higher this month for Christmas.
No, I didn't say that. How could everyone's bill be higher? What if a person wasn't home? Or what if a person used less energy than they did last month? Just because your cycle is longer doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to use more energy, but you're likely to use more.
But if it's longer, it's going to be a little higher, relatively speaking.
But your question is, did everybody's bill go up because it was longer? No, I don't know that because I'm not looking at everyone's account. Not everyone's the same. Some people are more conservative than others, and some people use more energy than others. I can't say, yes, everybody's bill went up because the cycle was longer. Some people are more conservative than others.
So if a cycle is 5 days longer, sometimes it's going to go less for some people?
Your cycle is 5 days longer, but you will home less often for whatever reason. Your bill's not going to go up. You will home less often. What if the person went on vacation? Or what if their schedule will change? Or what if they had to leave home for a reason?
When you said you were home less often, you confused me. So you're talking in general?
You're asking me a general question, so I'm giving you a general answer.
I sound so stupid.
That's your general question. Everybody's going. Is that not a general question?
And in the middle of it, you said you were home at
end of messages.
And then I proceeded we had an argument about the use of the word you versus one is not home during the meeting. And I disconnected. But the way he says, oh, it's the 5-day thing, so then why didn't you read the meter on December 23rd? So it would still be the 30-day cycle. And then it's like, oh, well, it wouldn't make that much of a difference, he says. And it's like, oh, well, you said it would make all the difference at the beginning of the conversation, so it was ridiculous.